Oh, honey. Let me tell you what just went down at Harper's Bazaar, and you better sit tight for this one, because even the editors are saying they haven't seen a mess like this in years. It all started when Meghan decided to waltz into that boardroom like she owned the place, demanding a payout that had folks dropping their coffee cups mid-sip. A cool $1 million. Can you believe that? For a magazine cover that was supposed to be a favor, not a payday. Lord, the audacity. You see, that cover wasn't even meant to be a big money project. It was Harper's Bazaar extending a hand, a little boost for Meghan when she needed the spotlight more than the magazine needed her. But instead of gratitude, she turned it into a transaction. The whole thing played out like one of those diva moves that should have stayed buried in a late-night text draft, not taken to the editors who practically polished her image when everyone else had turned their backs. And baby, when Harper's Bazaar saw that request, they didn't blink. They didn't even try to sugarcoat it. They shut that door so fast you could almost hear the thud echo across the entire entertainment industry. These people have dealt with the biggest names in fashion and Hollywood true legends, and none of them ever pulled stunts like this. But here comes Meghan, trying to invoice them for a feature she didn't even secure on her own merit. The editors, were not impressed. Folks in the room said her request came wrapped in a sense of entitlement thicker than molasses. It wasn't even a negotiation, it was a declaration, like she thought she was the sun and everyone else was supposed to orbit around her. Bazaar wasn't having it. They've been around long enough to spot a game when someone's trying to run one, and this one, it didn't land. They had offered her that cover as a show of support, a friendly gesture, something meant to lift her up during a shaky time. And she flipped it, turned that goodwill into a $1 million demand. Even her publicist couldn't spin that one. Insiders said the whole office went silent when the number came up. 1 million, someone repeated, like they thought they misheard. Oh no, they heard right. But Harper's Bazaar, bless their patience, wasn't about to let themselves be used. They didn't just say no, they said hell no with their whole chest. They stood firm. They felt like she was treating them like an ATM, not a media house with legacy and class. You could feel the tension in the air, decades of professionalism clashing with a sense of entitlement that just didn't belong. The gossip now? Oh, it's everywhere. People whisper that Meghan's losing touch with how this industry works. She's moving, like every platform owes her a paycheck. Like every collaboration must come with a luxury price tag, even when it's the platform doing her the favor. And the PR teams? They're exhausted. They're tired of putting out fires that shouldn't have been lit in the first place. They're tired of turning goodwill gestures into redemption campaigns. Harper's Bazaar finally said enough. They stepped out of the drama loop and drew their line in the sand. Their refusal wasn't soft, baby. It was bold, crisp, and unapologetic. They made it clear that the media world would not bend to Meghan's new narrative. They'd already given her visibility when she needed it most, and instead of a thank you, she came back with an invoice that could fund a startup. Bazaar's editors felt insulted. They've worked with real powerhouses, women who shaped fashion, redefined Hollywood, and never once acted like they were owed anything. And here was Meghan, floating on clouds of expectation, forgetting the basic rule. Media is a relationship game. You nurture it, not exploit it. You could almost feel the disappointment ripple through the corridors of that glossy empire. Editors saying, "We helped her once out of goodwill, and now she's trying to cash us out." They refused, firmly but fairly. And word is they felt proud of it. Because if they had caved in, it would have set a dangerous precedent. Imagine if every celebrity started charging for magazine covers, the whole industry would collapse under entitlement. So no, Harper's Bazaar wasn't going to let that happen. They protected their dignity, and in doing so, the dignity of the entire media landscape. But Meghan? Whew, honey, insiders say she's livid. Fuming. She feels misunderstood, sidelined, disrespected, but that's the problem. She can't see that this isn't about rejection, it's about reality. You can't treat every platform like a personal bank account and expect applause. And yet, she keeps doing it. Every time she's given a chance, she turns it into a money moment. And people notice. Quietly, behind closed doors, they whisper that she's become too transactional. It's no longer about collaboration, it's about collection. Every opportunity becomes a bill. Every handshake turns into a negotiation. And darling, the industry doesn't like that energy. Hollywood may love ambition, but it despises greed. There was a time when Meghan walked into rooms and everyone wanted to help her shine. She was fresh, exciting, and full of promise. Now those same rooms go cold. Executives smile politely, but their eyes say, "Don't get too close." Nobody wants to work with someone who turns goodwill into invoices. Even her allies, the ones who defended her when everyone else criticized her, are getting tired. People are whispering she's exhausting. Not because she's mean, not because she's untalented, but because every interaction feels like a setup for something bigger, something transactional. And in this business, once people start feeling used, baby, they back away fast. Even socially, the shift is showing. Friends say the vibe around her has changed. Conversations feel heavy now, like everyone's wondering if she's being genuine or if there's an ask hiding behind that smile. Is this a catch-up or a setup? One person joked, and it hit too close to home. When your own friends start questioning motives, it's not a good sign. Some people swear she doesn't mean it. They think she's just hustling too hard, trying to build her independence after the royal chaos, trying to prove she doesn't need the palace behind her. But in doing so, she's losing what money can't buy: trust, respect, goodwill. Instead of climbing higher, she's isolating herself. She's missing the lesson: sugar. Freedom is beautiful, but without relationships, it turns into loneliness. Meghan built her image on empowerment, but empowerment isn't entitlement. You can't demand loyalty, you earn it. You can't buy respect, you show it. Insiders say she still walks into rooms like she's the headline chin-up, expecting everyone to adjust their focus. But behind those polite smiles, people are tired. They don't want to dance around her ego anymore. They don't want to fight her battles or bend their policies just to please her. The silence in the rooms she enters says more than any statement could. That's what happens when goodwill dries up. You don't get dramatic exits or big announcements. The phone just stops ringing. Invitations don't come. Offers get smaller. Brands hesitate. Suddenly, you're not the must-have feature anymore. You're just another name that causes tension in a meeting. And let me tell you, once Hollywood labels you as difficult, it's nearly impossible to shake off. Meghan's name used to light up conversations. Now it makes executives glance at each other before changing the topic. It's not hate, it's fatigue. They're tired of walking on eggshells, tired of every interaction feeling like a financial transaction. The irony, darling, is heartbreaking. Meghan wanted freedom to tell her own story, to be her own woman, but in chasing control, she's pushing everyone away. Freedom isn't about demanding more, it's about managing what you have with grace. The same industry that once uplifted her is now watching her drift, and no one's rushing to pull her back, because the truth is simple: you can't keep taking without giving. You can't treat people like steps on a staircase and expect them to cheer for your climb. Even the most loyal people have limits, and Meghan's pushed them too far. Still, she could fix it. She still has the charm, the presence, that undeniable sparkle that once made everyone fall for her story. But she has to face herself first, really face the pattern. The pattern of turning gratitude into expectation, favors into invoices, allies into skeptics. People say the Harper's Bazaar incident was the wake-up call she didn't want but desperately needed. That $1 million rejection wasn't a slap, it was a mirror, a reflection of how the industry now sees her. Not as a victim, not as a visionary, but as someone who lost sight of balance. Harper's Bazaar didn't humiliate her. They reminded everyone that legacy matters more than leverage. That respect can't be bought, and integrity doesn't come with a price tag. And the internet, oh baby, they're eating it up. Every blogger, every commentator, every gossip channel is replaying the same question. Did Meghan really ask for $1 million? The memes, the threads, the TikToks, it's everywhere. And that's the real cost. Once your reputation becomes a punchline, rebuilding it takes more than PR. What hurts the most is that this didn't have to happen. She could have had a glowing feature, a positive reintroduction to the world. Instead, she turned a golden opportunity into another controversy. She's still shining, but it's the wrong kind of spotlight. So now, the industry watches from a distance, cautious, polite, ready to work with her if it benefits them, but unwilling to stick their necks out. The warmth is gone, the enthusiasm is gone. The trust? It's hanging by a thread, and Meghan? She's standing there wondering why the applause sounds quieter than before, not realizing that sometimes silence is the only response people have left. But here's the thing, darling Hollywood never forgets. The same doors that once opened for her with red carpets and flashing lights now creak shut in slow motion. Not because she isn't talented, but because people are tired of walking into the same pattern over and over again. They've started whispering she's her own worst enemy. Executives who once chased her for collaborations now say, let's pass on this one. Brands that used to fight for her image are now quietly shifting their budgets elsewhere. She doesn't see it yet, but the tide is turning. This isn't a cancellation, it's a quiet retreat, the kind where people stop clapping before you even finish the performance. And Meghan, bless her, still tries to move like the room belongs to her. But the truth is, every empire has its cracks, and hers are showing. The sparkle's still there, that camera-ready charm, the effortless grace, but behind it, there's a stiffness. The same energy that once drew people in now makes them uneasy. It's that feeling of, what's this going to cost us? Those close to her say she spends hours trying to understand what went wrong. She blames the press, the spin, the narrative. But what she doesn't see is that the story isn't being written about her anymore. It's being written because of her. Every move, every demand, every tone-deaf moment fuels the narrative she's trying to escape. And maybe, deep down, she knows it. Maybe that's why she keeps pushing louder, bolder, trying to prove she's still in control. But control without connection is just noise, and the noise is getting lonely. Harper's Bazaar didn't just say no to a payment. They said no to a pattern. They said no to the culture of entitlement that's been growing around her name. They drew a line and the industry noticed. It wasn't spite, it was a warning. Respect isn't optional. In the end, the biggest lesson in this saga isn't about money, fame, or magazines, it's about humility. Because no matter how high you climb, if you forget who helped you get there, gravity will remind you. And that's exactly what's happening now. Meghan thought she could buy her own narrative, but darling, stories like this can't be bought. They're earned the hard way.